Patrick, there should be some audio.
Okay.
It helps when you turn the audio on.
Yeah, producer.
Too many things going on this weekend.
A little bit. But it's tax day. You got 2 days, though. Give you till Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
But it is tax day. Everybody's sitting at home doing their taxes, listening to us.
Everybody.
I mean, they are just tuning in. They are getting a cup of coffee. They've got the papers all over the kitchen table with the...
Is your taxes done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Last week.
All right.
I sent it in as late as possible.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, as long as you got them done, that's the important thing.
Right.
Coffee good tonight?
Coffee is... You know what? After the last show, we had the coffee.
Yeah, Hunter's Blend Coffee, huntersblend.com.
Deb immediately went to the website and purchased some.
Okay.
And had it shipped to the house. And we got it during the week. So... we're going to we set it up. We're going to have it on the weekends because that's when pretty much everybody's home. So we made a full pot, and I asked for everybody's opinion.
Yeah,
and everybody seemed to like it. Smooth.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I like it. I like it because it's very smooth. It doesn't have that bite.
Yeah, I love it, man. It's good stuff.
It's very good stuff. So
hooks you up with some more.
Yep. So good stuff. We got our cup of coffee here now. It's tax night, and it's still raining.
It's still raining. Rain's coming down. We've had freezing rain. We've had rain. We've had snow. We've had sleet.
Ice.
I
tell you what.
It's been a bad weekend.
You know, I was finally able to get out on Thursday evening to do some turkey scouting.
Yeah. I saw you were out and about.
Yeah.
I saw you had your corn stalk with you.
Yeah, it's my walking stock.
Okay.
Walk and stalk. I get it.
Yeah, okay. Guy.
But that was the best night of the week.
Okay.
I waited during the beginning of the week. It was just like snow. It was just cold, rainy.
It's been a bad week.
Yeah, and I'm like, come on, I want to get out there. So finally, Thursday night, Kelly and Gabby and I, we packed up and we went off and did some walking. Did some scouting. There's a couple areas that I wanted to check out. My go-to areas, which I was able to get into and check it out. The best I could do was tracks, which is okay because I know they're in the area anyways. I just had to verify that they're still there,
right?
Because they still are. So that was good. But I do have a side note from that. But as I was scouting, lo and behold, in 2 of the fields that I walked into, there was each ribeyes in the sky.
They're back.
Which they should be. It's about that time.
Sandhill cranes.
And Kelly loves them. That's like her favorite bird.
Did you get the DNR questionnaire about the sandhills? I got one of those in the email asking about, I
don't think about a sandhill.
What I thought about them. Should it be a hunting season? Yada yada yada. Yeah.
And right there, and to tell you the truth, Kelly really dislikes them. And so, like we were walking and joking around because they're in the same field. I said, if there's ever a season, I'll gladly let you shoot first. But scouting the land, public land, of course, it just amazes me. First off, the garbage that just befuddles me, to say the least. But then all the tree stands that are still up.
We go through this every year.
It's like
every year people leave them up.
Right. Whatever.
On state land, yeah. It's like, I'm staking my claim and I'm going to leave it and that's the end of it. I pointed a few out to the DNR before and say, hey, look here, and here. They go out, they pull down what they can find.
Right. You really can't miss these. But as far as turkey sign, I know they're in the area. Hopefully this week I can get out, do just a little bit fine tuning. A couple other spots I want to check, but then we'll be ready to go for a week from tomorrow.
Week from tomorrow. You better hope it warms up. It's supposed to warm up this week, but it's been brutal, man.
It's been brutal. Down here, it's been brutal. From here, actually across the whole entire country.
Yesterday, we broke the record in this area for the most snowfall ever in a year. in a season. In winter season. Yeah, Flint broke the record. Yeah,
Really?
Yeah, they went an inch. I think an inch over. Or 3/4. Yeah. An inch. Maybe more now.
And are we done? That would be the question.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right?
It's looking like. Well, I don't know. I mean, I looked at the weather report. It's supposed to be. It's actually warming up now. The ice is gone off the trees here. Everything's just wet. There's still ice on the ground, but I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We broke the record. I threatened a weather guy at work.
Well, you flew a plane into his ear.
Yeah, I flew a plane into him Friday. There's other people on the internet that were like, yeah, I broke the record. So it's like, yeah, I'm mad at them too. I told a couple guys, it's like, yeah, you're the one to blame. So
turkey hunting, I'm pretty.
It's going to push it back. It's going to push it back. And for you guys like you that got that early season, that's what I'm worried about. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be one of those weeks. I get a feeling it's either going to start out cold and end up in the 80s, or
if it ends up warm, you, at the end of the week, you could have a good week.
Right.
We'll have to wait and see. But, turkeys, David Boggs, friend from Indiana, he gave me a tidbit one time. He said 54 degrees is the magical number for ground temperature before turkeys will actually lay their eggs.
And we're not even close to that right now.
It's not even 54 degrees out.
Exactly. But you're right. It's one of those things that Mother Nature... An interesting spring, to say the least.
Jim Miller's watching. Yes, the one person who I told that I was coming after because he was one of the guys who was happy about the breaking the snow record. So
Jim Miller was happy we were breaking the snow record.
Jim, I'm right here, right now. I'm blaming you. I'm looking at the camera. It's your fault. People like him, but like he said, for the guys who have the late season hunt, like myself, have the ZZ or the 234 hunt here in Michigan, it's actually going to benefit them.
Absolutely. It pushes everything back.
Yeah, so.
But, it is what it is. Deal with it.
Right.
But, this weekend, just we were talking before the show, you heard you got like 20-something inches up by your place.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that here in the next segment. That.
And then up by me, we were supposed to get like 16.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bad time to get that one.
It's a bad time of year to get a big heavy snowfall, wet snowfall like what we've got. Like I said, next segment we're gonna dive into that and cover that.
Right, but
we're supposed to be talking about the Deer Summit.
Well, the problem is
we didn't go.
We didn't go because first off, they closed I-75. That would have been enjoyable to get around.
They shut down both 475 and 75 northbound, and due to accidents, due to ice.
It was from what we heard from Deb was watching the FPO.
Yeah, on the
it was a nightmare.
There's accidents everywhere,
and I saw other people that were on the other side of the state, more east of us.
Yeah,
they said, "Look, it's an hour plus drive, and that's in good weather."
Right.
And for us, same. It's about an hour, a little over an hour, in good weather.
I wonder how many people didn't show up to the event.
It sounded like they had a decent turnout from what I could tell in the
pictures I saw. Sounded like
it
was a good time.
I'm glad that it went on and hope they had a good time.
Yeah, Dr. Jim Brucker was there giving
his
talk, and then Wayne Sitton was there and he gave his talk.
Yep, and Charles Byram is tuning in right now.
All right,
and he's in Iowa, and I think he's having a little bit of this nasty weather.
I saw pictures coming out of Iowa that were horrible, actually, that he posted. Hey, AJ Regal, he's on. Billy Hoffman, he's on. He's in Ohio under a tornado warning right now. Hopefully you're not near Lima, because that's where my kid is. So, I tell you what, the weather's crazy.
Okay, I think for the first time that I've ever, unless I haven't been paying attention, I was watching something on TV, one of the sports channels, and basically they went on a little bit of a list of postponed baseball games.
Yeah.
And of course, it was Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Cleveland.
Yeah. All of here right around the Great Lakes area, go figure.
Right? So, but this weather's been just tipsy-turvy crazy. And where's it going to take us for our deer?
Well, the thing is we're going to pay for this one way or another. There's always, whatever we get, there's always the opposite somewhere later on. So we're going to have a hot summer, we're going to have a dry summer. We're going to have a weird fall. I mean, because it always averages out.
some way, shape, or form. Either we're going to be sitting here in July and August with the windows in air conditioning, with a brown lawn that we see tumbleweeds, right?
Maybe we'll put a pool in here when we sit in the pool.
Right, exactly. It's like, okay, so where is it going to even out? That's always a good question. So far, the winter's been a real winter.
Right.
And then spring, well, we're kind of still waiting for it.
Right.
So, I don't know where it's going to even out, dude, but it's going to be interesting.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're bumping up here on our first break. Why don't we step outside, take our first break, we come back. We want to talk about how the weather is going to affect our deer herd. There's been some things I was talking about on Facebook back and forth with some people, and it really kind of puts some things in perspective. So I want to talk about that when we come back. So we're going to step outside and take this short little break. We'll be right back after this. Okay, for everybody on the live stream.
See, Mike, I'm 100 miles east of Lima, and the storm is going east.
Oh, thanks. Nice.
Jeffrey Lee. Howdy, guys.
Hey, Jeff. Yeah, he was there last night. He was at the summit. So, AJ Regal, he's on board. Good to see you guys. That means everybody's safe and sound.
I wish I could see who's on like you can. I don't know why I can't. It just
they pop up every now and then.
Yeah, it just tells me who's watching.
So, if you guys got any questions, anything, hey Jeff, how was the deer summit last night? You guys, I know you were there. So, shoot me a couple quick posts on that if you don't mind, so we can report on that as I save this off.
Yeah. I definitely like the graphics.
You like that, huh?
I do. It makes me feel authentic.
It does? Yeah. Authentic. Yeah, you're something, all right. I don't know about authentic, but you're something.
Jeff says it was awesome.
Good deal. How was the turnout? Did you guys have did you have empty seats there? I know there was at least 3. Me, you, and Deb.
Right. And it was, I could not imagine the drive home last night.
I wouldn't have wanted to. It
because the road, they showed M10 this morning on Channel 12.
Yeah.
And it looked like they were doing 15 miles an hour.
Yeah, it was bad. I mean, and the wind on top of it was pretty bad too.
And that's one of the worst highways because it's east-west.
So much good done by these guys. Yeah, Jeff, you're right on, spot on about that. And actually, we're going to talk a little bit about some information that I got from somebody from one of the sit-ins actually today.
Mark Starks is watching.
Hey, Mark, what's going on?
Mark, which reminds me, have you ever been to Tally's in Lewiston?
No.
I'm assuming it's in Lewiston.
No.
Never been there?
No.
All right.
Nope.
Mark keeps bragging about this place, and I'm assuming it's up in Lewiston.
Okay.
Tally's Bar, maybe? A Tally Burger.
You know, I may have, because my mom and her husband got property in that area.
Really?
Yeah, they're in Lewiston, just outside Lewiston, and we went to eat one night, and we may have went there, I don't know.
Okay. I was just wondering. His name pops up.
Okay, Jeff says it was full. Good. I'm glad a lot of people did make it.
Good.
Okay, here we go. Stand by. Second segment of the show.
Same as the first.
And 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. Second segment of the show. Sitting here drinking a little of our Hunter's Blend coffee. Thanks to the guys at Hunter's Blend, huntersblend.com. Check them out.
That's right. Yeah, this weather. You know, we're looking at this weather going, you know, it's April. Actually, today's the 15th, so we're halfway through the month.
And it's tax day.
Well, it's tax day.
And it's tax day.
And we don't have no warm weather. We have not had a decent...
We hit 70 the other day.
Yes, Thursday.
One day.
That was my day when I was out.
One day.
Scouting.
That was it.
And it was windy, though.
It was windy. That's right.
It wasn't too bad, but when I got in the fields, man, it kicked up. But, yeah, this weather, man. Being that we're always into looking for deer, and we're always checking out deer, it kind of worries me when you have something like this happen. I don't mind a light snow, because usually within a couple hours of the next day, the sun comes up, melts right off.
Right.
But the reports we're getting from across the state, I'm getting 16 inches plus up on the UP. You're getting 20 inches plus from you.
I talked to a guy about 4 or 5 miles from camp. They got 22 inches of snow. 22. Now, he was at the summit last night, actually.
Was okay. And he's north of you.
Yeah, just a little bit North,
Okay.
yeah, and,
Right.
and probably more east than north. When I say a little north, I mean like maybe a mile, if that, not even that much. He's more east,
Okay.
4 or 5 miles
But
east of us.
yeah, it kind of gets me worrisome as to we're getting into the nitty gritty, and you've already found some deer.
Found dead deer on our
Found
property.
deer,
Yeah.
and I don't think this is going to be really helpful.
No, we've talked quite a bit on the show here in the last year, some of the impacts that we're having on our property and in the area. And we're finding deer that are malnutrition and, basically starving to death. We can see we found 3 carcasses that were just freshly killed over. Opened them up, saw what was in there rooming. And it's just not good, man. It's non-digestible food. I wouldn't even call it food. It's just stuff to fill their gut.
Well, it's like we've talked about, and we've talked about this plenty. It's just something to make them feel full
Yeah, right. It just puts something in their gut to keep them from...
because they can't digest it.
Right. It changes the chemical composition of the stomach, and it makes it undigestible.
Right.
Now, okay, so that's happening leading into March, middle of March, beginning of April. Okay, so we still haven't seen green up yet. So they're still trying to find food, okay? Let's dump 22 inches of snow on top of it now. How's that going to impact them?
It's gonna hurt.
And I was talking back and forth with...
You were talking back and forth, and they did. You sent me a link to the DNR about this. Mm-hmm. You sent it this week, and up to this weekend, they presently in my area, because it was coming out of the Crystal Falls DNR. Up until this weekend, they were not seeing any dead deer, which was good. The deer were still willing to jump over the snowbanks, and that's a very good sign because
got energy.
Well, that and my old neighbor up there, he told me about when they had the big die-off way back in 95, 96.
Right.
He said he would just walk his dogs on the roads, and he would literally have to pick the deer up and throw them over the bank to get them into the woods.
Okay.
To me, that sounds really bad. So, but now we get this weekend. It can't be good.
Well, we were talking back and forth on a forum, and I was talking with the guy who talked to me about having 22 inches of snow on the ground, and then Wayne Sitton was at last night's event.
Yep, Wayne Sitton was there,
and his son is in partnership with him. They work together, and he said, "Here's some quick figures." He said to think about. He says, if you've got 10 deer in an area, let's say you get on your property, your number of deer that you usually see is about 10. Let's say it's maybe it's a 40-acre plot.
Okay.
And you're seeing about 10 deer in an area. And the generally accepted nutritional needs of a deer, which we've talked about before, is 6 pounds of forage a day. So you're at 60 pounds a day for 10 deer, right?
Yep.
Okay, for that herd. Now, it's been 190 days, he said, since anything green was growing in northern Michigan.
True statement.
6 months.
Yep.
6 months, okay? So now, let's take that and says that means to keep these 10 deer alive since late October, they've had to walk into a habitat that's got 11,400 pounds of forage to be alive today. Whose property has that? And he says that would literally be the equivalent of almost 6 tons of standing corn. He says he knows what some properties look like up in our area up there, and he says he's amazed that we even got deer around the area. He says he's not trying to preach at anybody, but he, basically start shooting some does, getting the numbers down, getting some mouths off the table.
And to prove that point,
and cutting some timber.
My lawn down here, which with a little bit of the warm weather has kind of greened up a little bit. Basically, the deer are coming in and they are mowing.
Right.
I look out my back door and there's 10 deer standing in my backyard looking at me because it's green. And it's been 6 months since we've had something going,
right?
And for them to pick up.
Well,
and Tom Witt here says in northern Newaygo County, he's found 4 dead already, and the last one he found was last Wednesday. And like he says, we need vegetation to start
greening up,
right?
Getting
those buds back.
Well, and I had said in this conversation, I told him, I said, if we don't take care of the doe, start thinning the herds down where there is overpopulation. Now, there's places where we don't need to shoot does.
Absolutely.
That's why you need to know what's on your property, know your habitat, what your carrying capacity is. But places like where I'm at, we're pretty stacked with deer now. And I said, well, if we don't take care of the deer, Mother Nature will, and it's not going to be pretty. And Luke said, Mother Nature is indiscriminate killer. She does not care if it's a mature buck or a doe that falls to starvation or malnutrition. If you really want to blow your mind, he said, run this problem. And I was like, wow, this really opened my eyes. How many deer were killed in the state of Michigan last season? Check the MDNR, the DNR website.
Okay.
I don't know what their estimates are yet. I think, do we not always run around 200,000 deer? Roughly?
Yeah, they would just say we have a good year.
250, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Okay. He said, now, take that number and run the harvest at 5 pounds of deer for forage for simple math. Take that number and try to figure out how many acres of matured timber or tons of saw logs that would be to feed those deer.
Exactly.
When you're cutting timber and dropping treetops to try to feed the deer through the winter. And that's what he's talking about with the logging. You start thinking about those things, and really it is. It's mind-blowing at how much nutrition or how much forage they really need to get them through these winters. So,
and that goes to show you, like you said, we don't need to shoot the does in some areas. But this is the whole part of the going off sound science thing. And going back to that QDMA survey you even had.
Right.
Is this good for the hunter? Are the hunters happy? Right. Are they, time out. What's nature doing?
Right. What you looking up?
I'm just kind of see if I can find the numbers for that.
For this year?
Yeah.
I don't know what the harvest numbers are. I really haven't paid that close of attention to what the DNR said this year, to tell you the truth, as far as number goes. But basically, what it boils down to is when we get into late winter, early spring, this time of year, and all of a sudden you dump 2 feet of snow on the ground, that's where it's really detrimental to our deer crop. Think about the bucks who chase doe. Okay, think about where you've got buck to doe ratios that aren't right, and you got bucks chasing does for 2, maybe 3 months trying to breed them. They don't have time to recoup, build their energy stores back up before winter gets here. And that's when you start getting pneumonia in the deer. Especially in the bucks. A lot of bucks dying from pneumonia. Okay, now they're stressed already. Now let's throw another 2 feet of snow at them.
Right.
And see what happens. Well, it's just not going to be good.
It says here that 2016 was the number 2 deer harvest. Huh. I'll be interested to know what the 2017 numbers are. And then, so we take that number. Mm-hmm. Now we throw in a bad winter.
Yeah.
And mortality rate of the fawns is probably going to go up.
A lot of deer are going to die this week.
Yep.
A lot of stressed deer are going to die. It ain't no doubt about it. It's not going to be good.
And right there, Jeff says, Wayne stated that the bucks are looking rough. Not good at all.
Right. Yeah. So, like I said, we can either start taking care of our deer ourselves, or we can let Mother Nature do it.
And that goes, and it goes back to the groups that are out there. I know some do it, but if we just go to a common using sound science, it still gets me that this commission has all these public meetings, all this stuff,
and nothing gets done.
And then in June they come down to we're going to do this, and this, and this, and everybody leaves that meeting shaking their head or scratching their head, or just perplexed. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've ever, and I know some people that I've talked to, but I've never heard, great job, DNR.
Right.
Way to go, NRC.
Right.
It's like, more so it's like, huh? Or what?
Scratching your head, left wondering why. Why are we not doing something? Why are we not doing something to help?
And that goes for, like out in Iowa. Byram out in Iowa, he's having some bad weather right now. Mm-hmm. Are they having some effects like we are? Wisconsin, they got blasted. Minnesota's gotten blasted.
Yep. South and North Dakota got blasted. I saw a cattle farm out there where the cattle were huddled together, and they look like what's the animal they chase up in Alaska.
The I know there's the caribou. There's the
muskox.
Yes,
they look like muskox, frozen with ice hanging off of them. And it's like, I just don't know how any animals can survive in those conditions. They do. They've done it for millions of years.
They do. That's right.
The tough survive. They get through. And maybe it helps. That's Mother Nature's way of getting rid of some of these animals that we're not going to take care of.
Well, it's going to also open up the dinner menu for the next week or two for some predators.
Predators going to hit the ground after the storms get done rolling through here. Their paws are going to be on the ground. They're going to be hitting it hard.
They're going to hold tight, and then all of a sudden, say dinner time.
Yeah, right on. So
but it just amazes me. But it's not looking good.
Well, I was talking with a landowner around the corner from us today. We were talking on the phone, talking about the deer browse survey, and we got into talking about the differences in camps and differences in members in camps and what people think about shooting does or not shooting does. And the majority of the people around our area don't shoot does, and it's that way at his camp. But he's trying to change it, and that's kind of what I would like to see happen. Is our deer co-op start to show people and open up a little bit and say, hey, this is what we're doing, and it's starting to work. We're making some impact here. This is what we're doing with logging or food plots or habitat or deer management, and starting to try to change minds. And it's going to take time. It ain't going to happen overnight.
No, it's not.
And some people will never change.
And I always say, I brought you bearing gifts again.
Mm-hmm. You did.
You're not gonna be able to say, oh, that was a buck or that was a doe. So it all tastes the same.
Well, I think does taste a little better, especially if you get an old rutting buck that tastes a little tough and gamey.
Oh, absolutely. Just like an old doe, right?
Yeah.
Just like an old doe.
So
you can always tell an old doe, especially in our area, because what they've lived on for most of their life.
Tastes a little piney, a little woodsy.
A little woodsy, a little cedarish.
Yeah.
But in the end, when I grind it up and I add pork to it and I add some spices,
yeah, voila,
it tastes good.
Right.
So, but so stay tuned, huh?
Right. Well, speaking of staying tuned, we're bumping up here on our next break. So why don't we step outside, take our second break. We come back, we'll continue the conversation here. We'll be right back after this. And for those of you on the live stream, chime in. Got something to say or got a question or what have you, throw it our way.
You ready for a refill?
Yeah. Pour me some more of that good Hunter's Blend coffee there. Guys, check them out. Matter of fact, while we're in the break here, let me just throw up their webpage here and website or web address so everybody can go over and check them out themselves.
I just go to it cracks, right?
What's that?
You
can take it all the way out if you like. Don't you know how to work a thermos?
Well, it's a handy dandy thermos. And
listen to that coffee pouring. That sounds good. Let me save this off here, folks, and we will get going with the third segment of the show. After Danny serves up some nice coffee here.
Some coffee goodness.
Sounds like something just fell outside.
Yeah, it didn't sound good.
I think that was my dog. All right, welcome back, everybody. Got our coffee poured there?
Yep.
All right. I love that thermos. That's my nice Cabela's thermos.
Got a dent in it.
Yeah, my son took this, and he takes it now and uses it for work. And he's an electrician, so it's been dropped a few times, but it's not a glass liner, so I don't have to worry about it. I've got two of these, and he loves it, and so do I. I mean, things are tough as nails, so.
Keeps the coffee hot.
Yes, it does.
Most important thing.
Absolutely. So, all right. So, we're back. What's going on? What are we going to talk about this segment?
Good question.
What are you pointing to me for?
Because I'm trying to remember what we were going to talk about.
Well, we were talking about deer.
Yeah, we were talking about deer, and we were talking about turkey. And
you know who I got the chance to talk to? Here, I'm gonna take this in a different direction.
Go right ahead, because
it'll be something we'll wind up talking about anyway here on the show. I had the opportunity a week ago to go down to Cabela's and hang out with Dan Yassa from PSC, our Michigan and Ohio rep.
Yes, he
and Chris
jumped into town.
Yeah, I got to go down there, and actually we recorded about 3 segments worth of a podcast.
Okay.
Talked about shooting paper.
Ah, yes, shooting paper.
Shooting paper with archery equipment.
Matter of fact, Chris was I think they were at some event today.
They were down in Clarkston, Michigan. Probably at the Oakland County Sportsman's Club.
They had a shoot going on?
I think so. That's what it looked like anyway. So, yeah, I got a chance to talk to him.
How's he doing?
Chris, doing good. Both of them doing good.
Excellent.
And they're bending my mind a little more.
That's always good to bend your mind.
Trying to teach me a few things. But what I'm going to do is we're going to release that as a special episode.
Yep.
Probably in the middle of the week, maybe this week or next week, as we're coming into spring and talking about shooting paper, shooting tournaments, shooting target archery is basically what we're talking
that's
about.
exactly, especially the indoor season is ending, and then you're going to be heading outdoors here soon.
So, with that being said, that was the focus of our discussion was why would a person that's a hunter, like you and me, that really never shot target archery before, we shot some 3D. Yeah, okay, he took us down and exposed us to shooting targets last year in Ohio.
Yeah, he exposed us.
Yeah, exposes is probably the better word because, we found out we need a lot. We got to learn a lot. But the point is talking about why should a hunter want to take and play the archery game? Why do you want to take it out of the woods and take it to the range, I guess, so to speak, the archery range, or target range,
and go shoot at paper?
Shoot at paper, or there's 3D, as well. But why the difference between the two, and talking about why you want to go do that and how that's going to apply to what you do in the field. It was really good. It was really good. 3 segments of a show.
Because going either paper to hunting to paper. Mm-hmm. Basically, if you, and I heard Chris say this before, is that he knows when he executes a good shot. Mm-hmm. Just like hunting. It all feels good, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So why not? If you're a bow hunter and you want to if you want something to do during the winter months, keep you in practice, keep your muscle memory going, keeping all that stuff in form.
Well, they both even took it a step further. Ooh. It wasn't even so much as, that's all important. That's all good stuff. But the fact of being on a line, shooting competition, not just shooting target archery, but shooting competitively, and what that feels like, going through the emotional highs and lows, going through the adrenaline rush, settling down, executing the shot, getting that rhythm down. They said, Dan Yassa was shooting for $100,000 at Vegas. Yeah, that's what he was competing for.
And you know what? To go from let's say Oakland Sportsman, mm-hmm. where you've got, and I don't know how big the place is, whether it's 20 yards across or 30 yards across, to out in Vegas from the picture I saw, mm-hmm. was they were just lined up across,
a building.
It looked like a football field.
Right.
Right. And they're all standing on the line shooting. The difference, and that'd be interesting to know from Dan mm-hmm. and Chris and Ashley. What's the difference? What do you do differently playing that mind game? Here you're shooting at a sportsman's club, and all of a sudden you go out to, whether it be Lancaster or you go to Vegas,
right.
and you go from a little bitty place to this big place. Hall, and Dan in Lancaster making it far enough to get put on basically the stage.
Right.
And here you go. Now, and he started off really well, and we seen him. He made it to 5th place. Then moved on. And all of a sudden we seen that guy misfire an arrow. Mm-hmm. He was done.
Yep.
And to go from your little county place to something like that.
Right. And that's what they kind of equate it to is taking those highs and lows. And the emotional roller coaster and the nerves and the adrenaline and all that, and putting that into executing that shot, executing shots. and then getting into a stand with a big buck walking out. Or maybe it's not even a big buck. Maybe it's a doe. Maybe you still get that angst.
I would hope so.
You know.
I know I do.
You know, it's interesting. You say that when I'm out with a bow, with any animal, I get that. With a rifle, with does, I don't get me wrong, I enjoy it. I love it. But I don't get that just gut-wrenching, adrenaline-pumping, you know, where you're just locked on, you're like, oh. But I think it's because shooting a rifle is easier. Now, if it's a buck, that's a different story. But with a doe, you know, for me, it's like, you're going in the freezer. Bang!
Right? And you did it in less than a minute with a muzzleloader.
Less than 2 minutes. Not a minute.
I was trying to help you out. I was trying to improve the story. Come on. We're 6 months past.
Yeah, right.
But
that was fun.
See?
Now, see, that was a little different with a muzzleloader. But I think with a rifle, yeah, I do. I get it. I still get that. I get the rush, I think, afterwards, after the shot.
So then I think it comes down to like archery, golf, bowling. It's an individual thing. It's you against
whatever you're aiming at.
Going against. And then it's also you if you're going competitively against somebody.
Right.
Now take you or I or somebody. You know, we shot with Dan.
Yep.
Not so much. But if Stephen Hansen.
Stephen Hansen.
Stephen Hansen. You know, he's one of the best in the world.
Right.
Okay. I think I'd be, dude. I'll watch him shoot.
That'd be like shooting Goliath the buck, you know.
Right. Exactly. You know, you get up there, but what it does is, in the beginning, it's 0-0.
Yeah. Right.
And this is from my bowling days. Anybody can be beaten at any time.
That's true.
And when we were doing our bowling, that's I'd go up against some of the best, but if you just gotta, and they make you better.
Right.
So us shooting with Dan Moore would make us better.
Absolutely. Yep.
And
shooting competitively makes you better.
Exactly.
Yeah. It ups your game.
I think it's an individual thing.
Yeah.
It's focus. It's mind. It's that individual person in you, kind of like hunting.
Right.
It's you're out there, you know, and it's up to you to
execute.
Execute.
Yeah.
So,
yep.
You know, it's amazing. So, I tell you, it's watching Dan shoot and then watching him shoot at Lancaster was just.
That was cool.
That was totally
cool.
Impressive for me to watch him and actually to kind of say, hey, I know that guy.
Right, right.
But it would be interesting to know, did he go over that in the interviews?
About
the mentality side of it?
Yeah, he talked about getting up on the line. So we're going to get that out here either this week or next week. I don't know exactly when, but the reason we're talking about that, we're allegedly heading into spring. You know, I don't know. It may or may not get here. We don't know yet. But, you know, hopefully this weather will break. You know, outdoor tournaments are going to start, outdoor shooting, you know, all that together. So with that, we got a little something that we wanted to talk about tonight, and I thought that would be the appropriate time to talk about the interview I did with Dan and Chris, that we're going to release that. So look forward to that.
Yeah.
That's coming up.
And speaking of releasing, it looks like Lincoln Roan has finally found a few minutes of free time to join us.
Hey, Lincoln, what's going on?
And join us. So,
right.
Hope he had a good event last night.
Yeah, I think the Deer Summit was a success.
Yep. So,
despite us not being there.
But then,
no, I wish we could have been there, man. I really do. I was bummed. I was so bummed that
this Michigan weather is just it's. Traveling was not good this past weekend, and it's supposed to get bad again tonight. So.
Yeah, well, I tell you what. Why don't we go ahead? Let's take our last break. And if those of you on the live stream, hang on, give us a few seconds. We're going to step outside, take our last break. We come back. We're going to talk about some of the gear that we got that we're going to be using for this year's upcoming season. So we'll be right back after this. So everybody on
those of you on the live stream, let's see. Oh, Patrick Clay. At day job, I have counted over 12 dead on the side of the road, and only 2 were hit by a car. And we haven't had snow for 4+ weeks. Depending on exactly. It's
be interesting to know what the impact of the browse is there in that area.
See, he's in the southwest
side. Yeah.
He's down from Lincoln. Lincoln's up in Newaygo, I think, if I remember right. It'd be interesting, because I know Traverse City, Petoskey area got slammed, just like you got slammed. So I don't know where anywhere in the state of Michigan did not get some kind of inclement weather.
Right. All right. Everybody, hang tight here. Let me get this back here. And we will get going with the next segment. You have taken all this out and looked at it, right?
Nope.
Or no? Nope.
It's about as far as you've gotten right there. They're open.
Okay. All right.
Hey, I want it to be like Christmas for you.
It is like Christmas.
It is.
I always like tearing into stuff. All right, here we go. Stand by in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. Last segment of the show. What you got?
I'm just admiring your handiwork.
You like that, don't you?
I do.
You like seeing your name on the screen. After working almost 30 years at a TV station, I thought it was time to start making this look like a TV show. We've put a lot of work into this in the last year.
Well, I'm not going to make this look like doors, okay?
We've had a lot of gremlins too. We've chased a lot of issues and problems throughout this whole system. But I think we're finally starting to get this thing shook down just a little bit.
We just got one more hurdle to get over, and then we should be good to go. I think we got this set.
We just need a show producer or a director.
A producer would be nice, and when we have a call in,
yes,
that would be.
We're getting there. So now we talked about.
Okay, so here we are. We're coming into the spring. Switch bows. Switch boxes. That box. So like we just talked about in our last segment, we're going to be shooting some target, and PSC has sent us a bow to use, and this is one of the target bows that we're going to be using. And this is the Phenom.
A big shout out to PSC. We've been working with these guys for years, and the quality of what they've got never ever ceases to amaze. And they continue to blow my mind.
Yep, exactly. So there's the Phenom, and
I tell you what, here.
And I don't remember what color green that is.
It's green.
Well, I know, but there's like 4 million greens.
So let me put that up there for those of you that are on the live stream. You can check it out now. This is the Phenom SD, and I think this is a 50-pound limbs, correct?
Yes, that is the 50-pound limbs.
So, and we ordered these in 50.
Right, we ordered them in 50.
Just because we're target shooting.
Again, here we go with a little bit of a difference from a hunting setup to a target setup, right?
Right.
And you sit there, and this is one of the things that you've got.
Get the specs there?
I'm getting them.
Axle on this one is 35.5. Now I'm shooting the Evolve 31 in the field for hunting purposes. Now this is 4.5 inches longer.
Yes, that is a 35.5 axle, a 7 5/8 brace height.
Yep. So the brace height is going to be a little wider than what I'm using right now.
It's called electric lime.
Electric lime. I like electric lime.
So
it's electric on the shooting line, but we've got live wire strings from PSC on here, and I'm trying to remember what cams we were using on these. Does it give the cam specs on these?
Let me read. I don't see it right off the bat.
But anyways,
so this is the PSE Phenom, and you'll be rocking that. And We'll see what kind of paper you can hit with that.
I'm really looking forward to it. This is going to be a completely whole new style of shooting. It's a whole new setup. Carbon Express arrows that we're using for these are the...
Right now, we're set up to use Maxima Reds.
Reds, right, the Reds.
Yep.
And for our hunting setup, we're going to be using the pile drivers.
We're going to be using the pile drivers, and I'll be using the SD pile drivers, I think, if I remember right. I tell you what, hunting season sounds so far off, but it's not, right?
No.
So then your hunting setup...
Hunting season is 365, dude.
I know that. So with that hunting season coming up, your hunting setup...
Well, my setup, hunting setup, I'm still using the Evolve. But this is...
That's the Ferocity.
PSE Ferocity.
Now, what's really cool about this bow is, and the reason why they sent it to us is, this is the bow that is the top of the line. This is going to be your top of the line coming out of a big box store. So Cabela's, Bass Pro. This is going to be the top of the line for them to sell you. So we're going to be shooting that same bow. So we're not going to be shooting anything exotic or anything. It's what you can get right out of the bow, and they'll be talking about you can get it in a package deal. Obviously, we got to put some sights on here, some stuff like that.
Yep.
You got the one that's in the Mossy Oak breakup country there. It's 3.5 pounds. And
it's
that,
light. It's real light.
That has 80% let off, and you're still going to be shooting 328, 330 feet per second out of that thing.
You know, if you look at this is going back to the real short,
flat
top parallel bows.
That's what
you know. It's going kind of back to that older style of bow, real compact. But this is what's going to be. You're going to be able to get these, like you said, in your big box store.
And the brace height on this now has gone down from 7 5/8 from the target bow to 6 1/2.
6 1/2. Okay.
On this one.
Okay.
And 3.5 pounds.
3.5 pounds.
And so you'll be shooting. I think we got that one's at 60 pounds. So.
I do believe it is. Yes.
Yes, that's
60 pounds.
Yep.
So.
You know, it'll be interesting to put those up together, start shooting them, and see where it goes from there. I think that's a great bow for a tree stand. I really do. Or a ground blind where you need that short.
What's our axle on this? 30?
30
and 3/4.
Yes.
So, you know, compared to the Phenom, it's a good 4 inches shorter. I mean, you can definitely tell.
Oh, yeah, you can put them together. And
so this,
and they're wider, right? Mm-hmm. Like you said, this reminds me of the parallel, when everybody came out with the parallel limb craze.
Yep.
You know, and then, so what PSE's done is they've gone ahead, they've gone to that design, and they've said, okay, this is what we're going to put in to the big box stores, and this is what you can buy right off the rack. You get down to Cabela's in Chesterfield. I don't know if they got them in yet.
Dundee.
Krishner would be glad to help you.
Yeah.
And
Dundee store, Saginaw store, the one over in Granville. You know, any of your other Cabela stores as well.
Yep, exactly. So we got to get that out there.
And we need to mention Bass Pro in the same word, in the same breath as well, now that we're part of that group.
We are. We're a combined now.
That's right.
So, and hopefully that works out good too. But, at 3.5 pounds, 3.5 pounds, it's not too bad. It's not a bad. And the Ferocity, I think, was the same.
And we shot these at ATA.
We did. We shot them. Is this the one that had the speed one on it, or was that the other?
No, that was the Stealth.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
That was brutal.
Yep.
But
when you're not used to the speeds on them things, man, they're just they're really aggressive. Real aggressive.
But stay tuned. We're going to get these out. We're going to get them. Obviously, we're not going to shoot them like this. But when we do, we're going to get out in the backyard here. We're going to do some shooting. And we're going to get some video on these things. And
looking forward to it.
Looking forward to a good hunting season. Hopefully, we have a hunting season.
Well, we will. We might be in snow. But, yeah, I cannot wait to get out. I can't wait to. I've got my arrows. I got to get them fletched. I'm waiting on getting the correct fletchings for those arrows, getting them cut down, start shooting the arrows that are built for the bows. And, we've talked about different sites. We've talked about different releases. And as far as the rest go, we're still unsure on that. We're looking to our PSE rep. He's guiding us on the right decisions to make and where we're going to be with what gear we're going to put on them.
Yep. And working with Dan is just because I know he's going to set us up good, and we're going to have to shoot like him.
I can't.
He's going to expect that out of us.
I tell you what, watching somebody, when you watch, it's like you said, bowling, archery. What was the other example? Golf. When you watch somebody that can, just drive daggers. Whether it be golf and dropping the ball right on the green, right next to the pin, or guys hitting the pocket, and striking every time on bowling. It's simply amazing.
And these guys get up there, and they're in like in golf, like in bowling, like in archery.
Yeah,
you just a little bit off, and that you missed.
Right.
So, but let's get out there. We got the bows are in. We can start working to get these out in the field, if it ever becomes nice weather.
Right, and get to your local pro shop or to Cabela's. Frosty is going to be available at the Cabela stores. The Phenom, the Target bows, that's going to be more into your pro shops. Get out if you're interested in something like that. Don't overlook target shooting. It's something that Danny and I are going to get into this year, and we're going to take this on and try to improve our game once we get into the woods. So.
Yep, absolutely.
So, anything else you got this week?
I'm hoping to get out and do some turkey scouting this week.
Tim Cius, Walker Game Calls. He had youth hunt last week. He said they didn't have any luck. They heard birds, but they didn't get on any.
Okay, they didn't get it. Okay.
But he has went in. He's got a new stealth mode. He's went in. Did you see him today?
No,
on Facebook.
I did not.
He shaved off the mustache, so he's just got the bottom part here. And I said, is that supposed to make you more stealth-like in the woods? And he's like, absolutely. So
Tim has gone stealth on us.
I think their season might start tomorrow.
Okay.
I think. If not, it's next week.
We'll definitely get an update from him, how they're doing down there.
Right.
We got a week out. I'll start going. Man, I'm really need to get out. I've been out once. I kind of know where the birds are at. Mm-hmm. One problem I have, and because I hunt public land, is I know where they're at. Mm-hmm. It's just...
Does everybody else know where they're at?
Next Monday morning,
okay,
me and how many of my friends are going to be out there?
Right.
Like last year, it was me and 2, 4, 6 other people. Mm-hmm. Hey!
Right.
And, like I told the kids when we were scouting, I said, you know what? I can come out here every night this week, and I won't see one person.
But Monday morning...
Everybody in there.
Oof.
Yep.
It's going to be a crowd.
So, hopefully that'll change. Hopefully next week I'll have a report on next week's show. But as for that, let's get out there.
Get out there and hit it hard. I don't have anything coming up this week.
And
that I know of.
Well, you did. You finished something off because you couldn't travel.
Oh, yeah.
We
got a few minutes. We can talk about that.
Cool. You didn't travel, so you went to school.
Yeah, we were supposed to be at the Deer Summit.
Yep.
And I was angry. I was upset because of the weather. And I thought, well, I can sit here and waste the whole day and sit here and be mad and pout about it, or I can get busy doing something, So I jumped back on my deer steward class, and I finished up the second module.
So that's 2 modules down?
Yep. 4 to go.
Okay, 2 out of 6.
Yep, so I'm third of the way through.
All right.
Yeah.
And you passed with 100%.
Yeah. It was talking about... buck management, antlers, talking about the antlers and how that all works and correlates to different things, and talking about antlerless deer management with the does. So,
interesting.
Yeah, it was all good.
It was, and that's the thing, So.
Probably the biggest takeaway from all of that I've never really thought about, and it's like once you say it, it's like duh, but I never really thought about it. And they were talking about genetics with wild deer.
Okay.
Not captive deer. I mean, a lot of studies are done on captive deer, and then they try to take that and correlate that to wild deer, and it doesn't always make it work over in the wild. So they do some studies in the wild and to see where things kind of line up. But they're talking about the genetics, and just because you got a buck that has a goofy looking horn, goofy looking antler. They're not horns, they're antlers.
They're antlers, they fall.
He's got a goofy looking antler. Most of the time it's due to injury.
Correct.
It's not genetics. Okay. They said if studies have shown in wild deer, if they have an injury to their rear end, rear leg, it will express a goofy antler on the opposite side. Most of the time. Not always, but most of the time.
And vice versa? Opposite side is the opposite side?
Yep. Yeah, depending on,
Really?
which way, yeah. Now, depending on how bad the injury is whether it will keep expressing itself year after year. Usually it doesn't.
So, that year, said deer gets hit, we'll say bumped by a car,
Yeah.
develops an injury. Mm-hmm. Oddity.
Yep.
If it wasn't that bad, bounces back within a year, the following year it would be back to its normal.
Yeah, more than likely back to its normal. Yeah, it's not genetics. It's just back to its normal shape.
Okay.
What it's going to express.
If that car injury was more significant, then it might happen year after year after year.
But it's not genetic.
But it's not genetic.
No. Now, they said most injuries, and when you see a goofy antler, is when it's in the growing stage.
They bump it or
in velvet. They injure them during velvet, or the pet.
I've had a deer come in the backyard, my research facility, middle of summer, shows up and it is just covered in blood. And it's like, whoa! And you look, and I'll get out binoculars and I'll look, and sure enough, something will have happened, and you can see
he's bumped it on something,
a fence or whatever they might have did, but
right,
because it's amazing. So, like you're saying about genetics, and you got to have the genetics. We need to take Iowa deer and bring them to Michigan, or we need to take Ohio deer and bring them to Michigan. Being at the necropsy and seeing what was on the wall there kind of tells you, if you do it right, we have the genetics.
Absolutely.
Southern deer in Michigan. Farm deer. Look at the deer that are produced. The genetics come out of that, and they got the right food, and you get big deer.
Right.
Up in your area with the right combination of everything, you could get deer like that. Like they say in the UP. Oh, those are the only ones that get big are the really old bucks that are way deep in the swamp. Well, not so much, because if you go towards the farm belt or like Menominee and that, where there's better food sources.
Right. Well, you're talking about genetics. I guess the whole point that I was getting to is we talk about that buck's genetics, what he's going to express. Three things playing into antler, the overall expression of antlers, is the age of the buck. Obviously, the older they get, the more they express, the bigger the antlers, until they get to a point where they start to regress when they get old. Nutrition, which is key, and genetics. Those are the three factors determining antler structure. Okay, what can we control? We can control age. Age is controlled by the pull of a trigger.
Yep.
That's the easiest one to control.
We can manage that.
And we can also manage nutrition if we've got a big enough area and manage our deer herd properly with the right habitat and food plots, what have you.
And in that instance, it takes more. It takes a combination of everybody working together.
Right. And they said the one thing, and like I guess the thing I'm trying to get to, that I'm still trying to get there, is the fact that when we're talking about genetics, and you want to say, I want to shoot that buck because it's a call buck. It's got goofy horns. We need to get him out. Was it injury? We don't know. They recommend waiting 2 full seasons with visual proof that he's still got a goofy antler.
Right.
But how do you manage the genetic portion that comes from the doe?
Ooh, good one.
That's the big takeaway for me. They give 50% of the DNA to the offspring to grow the antlers.
So how do you know if you're selecting a...
You don't.
You're right.
Matter of fact, they even suggest that since she gives 50% of the DNA for that antler to express itself, she also gives 100% of the maternal care, which is a big indicator of how healthy that fawn's going to be and be to grow.
Right.
So,
kind of all plays into it.
and if you've got too many deer on your property, buck to doe ratios are skewed, then you've got to take into consideration, okay, well, we having trickle rut, what Dr. Kroll calls it.
Yep.
Or what I call second and third rut.
Or the 3-month rut.
Or they're born late. If they're born late, they're runts. They're going into the fall, into the winter at a disadvantage. They never get to really fully express their
Right, exactly.
their antlers the way they should. So there's lots of factors going into it, and it's like you really can't shoot genetics out of a deer herd because you really don't. You can't control the does. You don't know what you really don't know which ones you're.
They don't stop in for a health check.
No, they don't. They don't.
Could you take a physical, please?
Right.
Right. But that's and so this has been so far 2 modules that you've learned this in. It'd be interesting to see where this goes from here for the rest of the 4.
Yeah, it's really been educational. I've learned so much. I mean, I've learned a lot from Dr. Grant Woods. I've learned a lot from Dr. James Kroll and from Wayne and Luke Sitton up at the necropsies. And other things that I've been to, and other people I've listened to. But this, when you're sitting and you're watching this and you're really picking up on it, making notes and things, it's like, okay, yeah, this is what Dr. Kroll said. Okay, this is why this makes, you start putting the pieces of the puzzle together and plugging everything in to see the picture.
You start connecting the dots of the puzzle, right?
Yeah.
And I tell you what, going back, looking at the necropsy for me, that was really cool. But seeing what they had on the wall was the proof down the road of what they're doing.
Yeah.
If it was a one-time deal, it says, okay, yeah, we're here for a deer necropsy. Yeah, okay, blah, 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 blah. But you look at the wall and go, well, by them doing this, by them doing everything else that they did, wow.
I've been a part of 4 of them now. That was the 4th one. And this has been over a period of, 7, 8 years.
This is 2018, and I think
2009 or 10 is when the first one I went to.
somewhere around there.
So, when you're looking at all this and you see that proven track record over time, and it keeps building upon itself, to me, that's just more proof in the pudding.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, cool. Keep on going. 4 to go.
Yep, 4 to go.
Well, a big celebration when you graduate.
Yeah, I'll get a cap and gown.
I'll give you a cap, all right?
Yeah, I got my cap on right here.
Give you a cap with some antlers.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to wrap up the show this week here, and we appreciate everybody chiming in, everybody looking in. We've got a lot of people checking out the show tonight. Don't forget, Hunter's Blend Coffee, huntersblendcoffee.com. Check them out. We're drinking it here on the show, and we love it. You got some this week. Your family loves it. So
they like it. So
it's going to turkey camp with me, so I'll be using it up at turkey camp. So
there you go.
But we're going to go ahead and step out here on the podcast. If you guys got any questions here on the live stream, I see a couple people in here that just...
Tony Smith just showed up.
Yeah, so throw us some questions real quick. But for the podcast, that'll do it for us this week, folks, and we'll talk again to you next week. And for those of you on the live stream, hey, Brock Rice is watching. That's a buddy of mine at work. Thanks for chiming in tonight and looking at the show. Michael Ryder.
Isn't he supposed to be working?
No, he's not. It's Sunday night.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought you meant he's at work.
No, he is a friend of mine from work.
Okay. I thought a friend at work.
No. So,
wow, pretty cool.
Hey, Tony, what's going on? Michael, Patrick says he's making slate calls.
Wow,
that's interesting. There's not much that guy can't make, I think.
I don't think so.
So, anybody got any questions? Throw them at us here real quick.
If not, we're gonna close it down for another week and take my merry old time getting back home.
Are the roads bad when you came in?
Roads are, right now they're just wet.
Okay. Actually, the temperature's warming up through the night. It's not supposed to freeze. Allegedly.
It's not?
That's what the weather said, my weather app said, so.
Okay, cool.
All right, folks. As always here, the guys on the live stream, share these, our Facebook feed, if you don't mind, with some people you think might be interested.
Yeah.
Hey, Tony, what's going on? We're just hanging out, wrapping up the show tonight. Saw you guys had a real good time up at the summit last night. So I wish we could have been there. The roads didn't let us make our way north.
Right.
But share this on Facebook if you don't mind. You're going to post this over on YouTube. We're
on Wednesday, Video Wednesday,
and we're on Twitter as well and Instagram. And if you don't mind, share the feed. We'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. We love doing it.
So, no questions here.
Nope.
All right,
All right,
guys.
we'll see you guys next week.
We're going to sign off, so you guys take care.